Hola todos! So I've been looking through resources on Test, that resource website you might have heard your teachers mention, and I found this really good resource, which I remember doing myself 3 years ago when I was in year 11. It says there are 92 of those little words you need to know for reading and even for listening. There's prepositions and really small little connectives and those sorts of words that we're going to bash through and just quickly go through in this video. And then on the second page, they've got translations, and I guess most of the words in that first page are in that second page, and we're going to go through this 30 sentences to translate as well. I'll link this resource in the description. It's not made by me, and hopefully in this video or from this video you learn a thing or two before your reading and listening exam on Tuesday. Vamos. Okay, so firstly, con means with, super easy. Sin is the opposite, without. Para is for. However, at GCSE I like translating as in order to. So if you saw para before an infinitive, for example, para comer or something, it's in order to eat. A causa de is sort of due to, or like because of, or as a cause of something. I'm going to write in there due to, but debido a is actually how we say due to, which means the same thing as a causa de. De is off, but also means from. Cuando is when, pretty much. But when it has the accent, it's saying the accent on the A there, I believe it is. It's saying the question word sort of when, otherwise it's just saying when, but without being sort of a question. For example, when I'm older, cuando sea mayor. Donde, same thing, means where, with the accent on the O, I believe it is. It means sort of where and where is something, whereas donde just means where without being a question word. Como, again, same thing as how. Or in this case, it can also mean like, como, like an example of such as something, and it can also mean I eat. It's not going to mean I eat in this case, because it's one of those sort of preposition words, but it means how or like. Okay, moving on. Antes is before, and después is the opposite of that, is after. Hoy is today. Ayer is yesterday, and anteayer is the day before yesterday. That word, if you put ante before ayer, anteayer is the day before yesterday. Mañana is the morning. Or tomorrow, it means two things, so the morning or tomorrow. Otro is another. Cualquier is like sort of whichever, whichever or whatever, or even like any of something. Mucho is going to be sort of a lot or many. Muy, just very. Bastante is always enough, or you could say like bastante divertido, pretty fun. So I'm going to put in there like pretty fun or quite fun, but also just means enough. Poco is a little. Demasiado is the word too, and just to mention about demasiado, it's usually always used in a negative light. For example, if I say something is like demasiado bueno, it's too good, but like that can be the opposite. Or like it's too sweet, it can be like overly sweet, which can be a negative thing. So just to mention there, the word demasiado, if you see it, it's normally a negative sort of opinion or a negative thing. Despacio from the song Despacito is slowly, the adverb slowly. Rápido is the opposite, is fast. Porque is because. Tras is after something, which is the same as después de. Dado que is also because, or like given that, but at GCSE we can think of it as just meaning because. Puesto que, again, sort of just because it's got a specific meaning, but we can think about at GCSE puesto que just means because. Una desventaja is a disadvantage, which is a very useful word, especially for the writing exam. La fecha is the word date. La fecha looks nothing like that word in English, but la fecha means the date. La hora is the hour. El mes is the month, and una ventaja I missed there, and ya que. Ya que is also because or like since. Una ventaja is an advantage. The opposite of una desventaja. Salvo is the word except. Mes is month. El año que viene, this viene, it comes from the verb venir. So it's saying the coming month, or in this case the coming year, or the following year. I'm going to put in there the following year, but it also just means sort of next year. Hace un año is ago. So for example, a year ago, hace obviously normally means like it makes or he does from the verb hacer. But when it talks about duration, it means ago, so a year ago. El día is the day. Apenas is the word barely or hardly. I'm going to check that I'm recording. Yes, I am. A menudo is often. Cuál is like which. Cuál I'm going to say is which or even what. For example, cuál es tu asignatura favorita? Like what is your favorite subject? But we're saying which in English, or we say which in Spanish, we use cuál. But in English, we're almost just saying what. Lo que is, que normally means like that. Lo que is the thing that. If lo que comes up, we're translating that as the thing that is roughly what that means. Or actually, it also can mean what as well. I'll accept that as well, what. Okay, si is if, and if it's got the accent, it means yes, but without the accent, it means if. También is also. Tampoco is neither. Este or esta is like this. One's obviously positive, or not positive, but masculine. Este being a masculine, for example, este libro, and then esta mesa, masculine and negative, and feminine. El objetivo is the objective or the aim of something, which is the word meta, also means like the goal. It's sort of synonym there. El número is the number. Cifra is the word for figure, really similar to the word cita, which is almost the quote, or even the date is like an appointment or a date to cita. But cifra is figure. Ese or esta is like that. Again, similar to esta and esta. Ese and esta is that. The other one was this. Actualmente is not actually, but it's currently, sort of nowadays, currently. You wouldn't translate it as actually, but it's saying currently. Pero is obviously but. Precio is the price, like the word coste. El coste is the cost. Conmigo is with me. Earlier, the first word we saw was con. Conmigo is with me. Something like, if you can see that in yellow there, contigo is with you. Cien is 100. Mil is 1,000. Not a million. Very common mistake. Mil is 1,000. A plural of that would be miles, like thousands. And then something like 2,000 is 2,000. Una cantidad. If you almost replace this with a Q, a quantity, this one is quantity. And cualidad is quality, which is not on here. We saw this one with you. And cualidad is the quality of something versus the quantity of something. Okay, junto is together. Mi is my. And this S depends on the noun. So I could say mis móviles. And because the noun there is plural, móviles, more than one, it becomes mis. Same with tú. So this is sort of yours. Or tú is, your. Su is his or her. And again, if it's a plural, it depends on the noun. So I could say sus perros. And then also just to add, if you're talking about a plural, so for example, a group of friends or like more than one person, if it's their collective, for example, phone, it's still su móvil. It depends on the noun. If that su is singular or plural, it depends on the noun, not the amount of people that there are. Okay, sencillo is the word simple. Lejos there is far away from or just far from. And cerca, there's the opposite of that, close to, which is the next one there. Nuestro is our. Again, if the noun is plural, it becomes nuestros. If it's singular, it's singular, nuestro or nuestra, feminine. Objects, raramente, is like the word rarely. Bien is well or good. For example, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. Mal is bad. Un tema is a theme. Un día is a day. These are both masculine nouns, even though they end in a, tema and día. Aún is sort of still. And todavía is yet. Un compañero is like a classmate or a companion. I'm going to put in there a classmate. Or like, like a companion or like a work friend or whatever. Sobre todo is above all. That's quite a good one, above all. En is in. Mientras is while or whilst. Aunque is although. I'm skipping the end ones here, aren't I? Durante is during. Por ejemplo is like, for example, there's lots of these here. Al lado de is next to. That's quite a good one. Al lado de. Enfrente de is in front of. These sort of placement prepositions where something is in relation to another thing. Una pregunta is a question. Una cosa is a thing. A la izquierda is to the left or on the left. And then the opposite of that, a la derecha, is on the right or to the right. And just to mention it super quickly, if it was derecho, then that's like the subject of law or right in terms of los derechos humanos, for example, human rights, like the noun, but the direction is always ending in a, derecha. Okay, next is más is more, with the accent on the a there. Menos is less. And menos is less. Cada is every or each. Cada vez más. This is a really good one. If you saw this, it means every time more. We're going to translate it as more and more. We don't say más y más, we say cada vez más. More and more is the translation, but it's almost saying like every single, for example, year or day, it gets bigger and bigger, more and more is what it's saying. Tengo hambre is I am hungry. Tengo is obviously I have, but we just use this expression to say I have hunger, I am hungry. Tengo calor, again, I am hot, or I have heat. I am hot. The opposite of that, tengo frío, I am cold. Is there a couple left now? And last one, dos veces a la semana is twice a week or 2 times a week. That word vez is time, just like tiempo means time, vez also means time. Okay, let's move on to the translation section. That's all not happy there. Let's move on to the translation one. So, last few sentences here. ¿Quieres ir? Do you want to go to the cinema with me? Is what that says. I'm going to write it super quickly. ¿Quieres ir? Do you want to go to the cinema with me? The cinema is in front of, está enfrente de, la carnicería, the butchers. I'm not going to write all the full sentence there, but the butchers, from the word carne there, the word for meat. Words ending in this sort of area is your location, your place of work, like the word panadería is your bakers, that's your sort of location, your place of work. So the cinema is in front of the butchers. Tras el partido, after the game, I'm going to go to the cinema with my friends. I never watch TV while or whilst I study. Every day, cada día. There's lots of ways of saying every day. We could say something like todos los días as well. Or even something like diariamente, which you might see as meaning sort of every single day or daily, but cada día, every day, I shower, me ducho from ducharse before having breakfast. Desayunar is to have breakfast. If I have time, si tengo tiempo, I chat with my friends from the verb charlar. The ending o is the present tense, the I form. This is a good one. Al ir de compras is, you could say, like upon going, or like even just like when I go shopping. Ir de compras is that word or that verb to go shopping, ir de compras. And al plus infinitive normally is something like upon. But in this case, when I go shopping, often I buy a new dress, vestido. I eat carne is meat 3 times a week. Esta casa es blanca. This house is white, and it has tres plantas is 3 floors. In case you didn't know that, planta in terms of like your flat or your house is saying the amount of floors it has. Me encanta is I love Asian food. Above all or mainly, sobre todo. La comida tailandesa is saying Thai food. El medio ambiente, the environment, is a very important theme or topic, tema. We saw that earlier. Es sencillo, it is simple, or saying like it is easy to protect the environment. Our dog is very big. My mother speaks German, Alemán. Alemania is the country. German is the language. Alemán, muy bien, very well. Not, I guess you'd say yeah, very well over saying very good, very well. Quiero ser piloto. I want to be a pilot. Just to mention here, we don't say un piloto. For jobs, we just say quiero ser, and the job without saying uno, una. So quiero ser piloto, ya que es un trabajo muy variado. It is a job, because it is a job, very sort of varied job, you could say. To stay in shape, para estar en buena forma. Corro todos los días. I run every single day. Here, buena is the adjective. It can go before sort of the noun here. There are very few adjectives, but there are some adjectives that go before the noun. If this form was a masculine noun, like libro, we would say buen libro. We would get rid of the a. But because the noun is feminine, we keep it. So en buena forma, it stays as that feminine noun. Buena forma. We don't chop it off. We don't say buen. But otherwise, we would say buen if it was something like buen libro. Moving on, 2 years ago, we went to Tenerife. Fuimos in the preterite tense, hace 2 años. We always eat. This could be the preterite tense. It could be we ate or we eat. In your exam, in the translation, in the reading translation at the end, if you see a verb like cenamos, which is the same ending in the present tense as well as the preterite tense, they would accept both sometimes. You have to look at the context of the paragraph or the sentence, but they should accept both. They mostly should accept both. This is a good one. Aunque se me da bien, this hasn't come up earlier. Although I am good at is how we say I am good at se me da bien in terms of that sort of education topic. Se me da bien la historia. Although I'm good at history, I think that it is very boring. Okay, 10 more. What I like most, or the thing that I like most, is playing basketball with my friends or with my classmates, compañeros. Technology is more and more important nowadays. Hoy en día, just like saying ahora, now, hoy en día is nowadays. Mi abuela siempre anda despacio is saying slowly. Anda is saying walks from the verb andar. So walks slowly. And andar is one way we can say to walk. Voy a tomar un té sin azúcar. I'm going to drink or take a tea without sugar. Just to mention, tomar is usually always saying like to drink or to consume something. Tomar to take, but it's normally in terms of consuming. So to drink or to take a tea. Puedo ir, can I go? Puedo ir to the bowling alley, bolera contigo with you. Apenas I barely eat chocolates because or since I do not want to get fatter, engordar from the verb, from the adjective gordo is almost like fat. So because I don't want to be bigger, get fatter. Okay, very few left. The house of my grandparents is not far from the train station or the station of trains. Train station is what I'd say there. El mes que viene, next month or the month that comes or the following month, a lot of things you could say. I'm going to travel to Nice, that is Nice, that city in France, with my school to do a school trip, viaje escolar. And Nice, before you ask in the comments, is not a city that you've got to know in your specification. There's a list for edX and AQA of countries and cities you've got to know. I don't think Nice is in there, so don't worry about that too much. The price of the new iPhone is too expensive. So as I said, the mathada here is obviously a negative. I mean, caro itself is negative, something saying something's expensive, but it is too expensive for me. Is that negative sentence there, and it's saying, yeah, the price of the new iPhone, this de plus L is saying off the. You couldn't just say off new iPhone, you'd have to say off the new iPhone. It's too expensive for me. Last two, today, hoy la fecha es, today the date is Friday, the 23rd of May. Viernes is the word Friday. Make sure you go through your months of the year and your days of the week and things like numbers and stuff, really basic things that a lot of students end up forgetting. And last but not least, me encantan todos los deportes. I love all the sports, and this is plural because deportes is more than one, except, which is a good word, for example, to use in your writing exam, salvo, except badminton because it is very boring. Okay, and that's going to be the end of this video. Hopefully I did that quick enough. There's all the words there and the translations. Any questions, let me know in the comments. And best of luck for your exams. I'm doing a last-minute revision session. I'm doing 2 of them now. On the Monday before your exam at 5 to 6 p.m. or from 5 to 6 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. More information is on astarspanish.com/revision. Okay, best of luck. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Adios.